G'day folks, Connor here from C-Dubs Media, back with another video, and today we're doing my full review of the Galaxy S22. That's right, I got the small version this time, and those of you that know me and follow my channel know that I was just sick of carrying big phones, which is the reason why I got the S22. Funnily enough, the phone it's replacing is the Pixel 6 Pro, which costs the same as the S22. So I'm going to be drawing a few comparisons between the two, but it's not all cream and cheese for either of them. So without further ado, hit the like button and the subscribe button, and let's get stuck into the video. Let's go. Now, most people have been asking me in the comments about my first impressions video, what is the battery life like in the S22? So that's the first thing I'm going to cover off here, and I've got to say, it is pretty bad. It's not even average, it's pretty bad. We all knew we were getting a smaller battery. 3700 milliamp hour, that's pretty small these days, but you're getting a really small phone for that battery. So you sort of take the good with the bad and you hope that the software is improved and you can get a full day out of it. Well, unfortunately for me, I'm getting a bit of battery anxiety around midday, 1 p.m. and I'm having to charge it up to get me through to like 11 p.m. Tracking my run, tracking my cycling, social media, emails, that sort of thing. And then all day at work, either playing music or just checking notifications. Not that I do that at work. And then for the rest of the afternoon, it could be filming, photography, more tracking, more exercises, and watching content. Like I take it off charge in the morning and I've got to charge it again during the day. There's just no way around that. So if you're someone who goes to work in the morning and doesn't have access to a charger, you are going to run out of battery life before you get home unless you're a light to medium user. If you're a light to medium, I think you might get home with some battery life left, especially if you're charging in the car. But if you're a commuter and you don't have access to a charging port during the day, you're going to struggle. So that's probably the worst thing for me about this phone, but it's not all smooth sailing from here either. I'm always honest with my reviews, and I hope that others will follow suit, because we get sick of these tech reviewers that just say they're beautiful so that Samsung keeps sending them phones. Because we all get a bit pissed off with people saying these phones are amazing just so they can lube up Samsung and keep getting free phones, because that's shit. And the reality is that they're not all great. Some phones are amazing and some phones aren't. And I can tell you the Pixel 6 Pro got smashed by tech reviewers, but they seem to be like making excuses for the S22. And I would say that's because they don't want to upset their supplier of tech products. Luckily for me, Samsung don't send me shit, so you're going to get the truth. And the battery life, horrendous. But the best thing about this is the build and design. I absolutely love it. I've been using the Pixel 6 Pro and before that, the Galaxy S21 Ultra. And they were massive phones and they were heavy phones, and I was really getting sick of carting these phones around. Especially being an active person, I'm always out and about or doing cycling or running or something like that. To have these phones in like a running belt while you're running is just horrible. So I got the smaller one to be able to counteract that, and I'm so glad I did. I mean, holding this phone is a breeze. It's really comfortable. It's got the smooth edges, but they're like straight edges almost with just a little curve on them. And then the flat display. I mean, I just really enjoying using it and not struggling with it. And I put it in my running belt and I barely notice I've got it while I'm running compared to how it was when I was using the Ultra or the Pixel 6 Pro. So build and design is amazing. Across the bottom, you've got a single speaker, you've got the charging port, and you've got the SIM tray. And then on the right-hand side, you have your power button and your volume up and down. So it's just all really nicely done. And there's only one thing I would change on this, and that's to make the back flat. Where the camera hump is, it rocks a little bit, and that's annoying for anyone, and a lot of phones do it. I wish I would stop doing that. But they don't. They keep choosing, except for the Pixel, to make a phone that rocks when it's on a flat surface. So that would be my only gripe. Otherwise, the build and design for me is just awesome. It's got IP68, no headphone jack, but I've learnt to live without that. And also, for while I'm running, I picked up the Galaxy S22 case with the little finger slots on it. So that's really handy as well for the active person who's got their phone out a lot. I dig it. I really like that case. That's probably my favorite case so far for the Galaxy S22. happy camper when it comes to the build and design. You got the 3 cameras across the back there, you got the single camera on the front, and all this combined gives a really nice feel to me, a manageable design and an enjoyable design. So kudos to Samsung for this small form factor. Keep giving us small form factors, everyone. Not everyone wants a massive phone. Like, I'll be honest with you, the Pixel 6 Pro is a way better phone than the S22, but I'm not going back to that massive display, that massive phone. I just can't do it anymore. This one rocks. Now I'm sort of rocking between the good and the bad here because I've got some more bad for you. And this is where it comes to software and performance. This phone performs really well sometimes. And I've seen a lot of tech reviewers talk about throttling. I don't give a shit what you fancy tech reviewers call it. Throttling, sticking up for Samsung, it's garbage because for the end user, it's lag. And that's what I'm experiencing here is lag. It's definitely not a Pixel phone. There is certainly no smooth, free-flowing software here. It's jaggy and it lags. And especially with some applications, like for me, the camera app is just a disaster when it comes to lag, like just horrendous. Half the time I'm like, why isn't it taking a photo? So I press the shutter button a couple more times and and then you just end up getting frustrated with that experience. And I'm definitely feeling that here with the S22. I mean, it's got all this amazing hardware that says it should be able to cope really, really well. I'm hoping that Samsung come to the party. I've seen they've already released some software in Germany to update it. Hopefully that fixes some of this, and hopefully as time goes on, their performance improvements and software and stability improvements will get better and better, because right now it's a disaster. And I really don't think it's the hardware. I really think it's the software. Gaming has been fun. No problems with gaming. I was just playing Asphalt 9, a bit of Genshin Impact as well, if that's how you say it. And it's capable. It's definitely capable. I don't have any problems with it. And most phones adjust to the games and the games adjust to the hardware. So you get a pretty good experience these days with most games. And that's the case with the S22. You're going to buy it for gaming, you're going to enjoy it. You can get a better phone for gaming, but you're not going to really notice any problems with the S22. Now, also when it comes to performance and battery life and software, we got some overheating going on here. I know the phone is trying to throttle everything down to stop it overheating, but I'm out running at times and I can feel it. That warmth actually touching my stomach as I'm running. That's going through a running belt, my t-shirt and my shorts, and I can still feel the warmth of this phone. And I was actually thinking the other day, is this a Galaxy Note 7 disaster waiting to happen? It shouldn't be cooking me while I'm running. And I certainly noticed that as well with some apps, but I can't put my finger on why and when, because when I'm running, it's just running Runkeeper Pro. That's it. It's like no big deal. And then other times it'll heat up as well while I'm doing just pretty standard sort of tasks. And then while I'm gaming, like I was just playing Asphalt 9, and there was no problems. It was gaming really, really well. The performance was there and there was no overheating. So I think Samsung is still trying to figure out their software with this chipset and all that sort of stuff. But it is disappointing. So the battery life and the software / performance, they're both pretty disappointing situations for me. It's not throttling for me, it's lag for me, and I hate it. Next on my list is the camera. Not bad. Now, it's not really an update to my S21 Ultra. If anything, it's a bit of a downgrade because it doesn't have that extra zoom lens, which I wasn't a fan of anyway. And if I compare the photos on this to my Pixel 6 Pro, the Pixel 6 Pro is ahead of the game, which is interesting because a lot of tech reviewers said that the Pixel 6 Pro was behind like Apple and a couple other phones. So the S22 mustn't be doing too well, but for me it's good enough. And the reason it's okay for me is it's a small form factor, it's tucked away nicely, it's not cumbersome, but also I carry around my Canon R6 with me most of the time. It's always in the car with me, it's everywhere I go. So having a really good camera on my phone is great, but it's never going to compete with the R6. So that's why it's not a big issue for me. It's nice to have that little phone in there, just pull it out and take the photo you want. I mean, it's definitely going to be getting you good little Facebook videos, great Snapchat pictures and clips and all that sort of thing. Instagram photos, Instagram stories. It's going to do all that just as good as any other phone. You're definitely not going to be disappointed. And it's got all the usual Samsung bloat in the camera app as well, you know, so you've got your portrait mode, your food mode, your director's view, all that stuff is still there. Pro mode. Then in the video, you've got like 1080p 30 frames, 1080p 60, 4K 30 frames, 4K 60, 8K 24 frames per second. I mean, you've got a lot of options here for video, and this is definitely ahead of the Pixel 6 when it comes to video. I really enjoy using this camera and the video mode on this little phone. I think it's great. It's typical Samsung photography and videography where you get a little bit over saturation. It's very sharpened, very digitally sharpened, but that's with most phones anyway. So I think from the camera point of view, you can see from these photos and these videos that it does just fine. You shouldn't be disappointed with it. You have the wide angle lens, you have the standard lens, and then you have a small sort of zoom lens, which really isn't that special, but you've got enough there to get the photos you need out of it. You know how the old saying goes, zoom with your feet, and that's probably what I would suggest if you really want that zoom lens. Sometimes you can't, you just got to make do. But every smartphone has always been shit at zoom lenses, so you're not really missing much by having it removed when you think about it. A lot of reviewers have said it's like an incremental upgrade to the S21. I'm going to review it on its own basis that it's an S22 and it's not the best phone on the market. Pixel 6 Pro, $1,299 here in Australia. Galaxy S22, $1,249 here in Australia. Same price point. Pixel 6 Pro is better in every way except for the size, I think. I really think the size of the S22 is amazing. The form factor is amazing, and that's why I'm using it. Okay guys, there we go. That is my review on the Galaxy S22. I guess you're picking up that I don't think it's the best phone out there. And it definitely isn't, but it is definitely one I can learn to live with due to that form factor. I've said that enough in this video. The form factor is what won me over. Everything else I'm just deciding to put up with at this point in time. Maybe I'll switch back to a bigger phone if this lag doesn't go away after some updates, but for the most part, the Galaxy S22 is doing what it needs to do to stay in my pocket. I'm happy with it. But thank you for watching, love you all, and I'll catch you in the next video. Check ya!